Time now for Patriots Central. Here's Jeremy Dawson.
Rest in peace, my recliner. Patriots, this one's for you. Patriots. New England, what up?
International show report.
Yeah, we on the road.
And welcome back to Patriots Central. My name is Steve Balestriei. Along with me is my co-host, Jeremy Dawson. We're here to bring you a great show this afternoon. Our guests are Erik Frenz, featured writer for Bleacher Report, covering the AFC East. He also writes for Boston.com. And our other guest, which Patriots fans should be very excited to hear from, is Zoltan Mesko, punter for the New England Patriots. Zoltan's foundation is having its annual Zolioki karaoke benefit this Saturday. We're going to be talking to Zoltan about that. But let me welcome my co-host, Jeremy. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going, Steve? Very excited for today's episode. We got two great guests. Got our first New England Patriots player for the radio show, and it's going to be an exciting one.
Absolutely. So without further ado, let's bring on our good friend, Erik Frenz. And we're back with Patriots Central Radio. Our guest this afternoon is Erik Frenz, who writes for the Bleacher Report. He is the AFC East featured writer. He also writes for Boston.com. Erik, welcome to Patriots Central.
Thanks for having me, Steve. How's it going, bud?
It's going well, my friend. All right, I'm going to jump right into it because I know your time is short and you're a busy man. I was reading an article from you from June 5th, what to expect from the Patriots defense in 2013, which I thought was a fantastically written article, and it had some great points in it, and I'd like for you to share some of this with our readers. But before you do that, let everyone know where they can find you on Twitter and, Bleacher Report.
Sure, yeah. I'm on Twitter at Erik Frenz. It's ErikFrenz. And on Bleacher Report, it's bleacherreport.com/AFC East blog. And on Boston.com, it's boston.com/going deep. And the article that I wrote this week was just kind of covering all the different things that the Patriots defense can do next year. And I thought it was really interesting because when you look back over the past few years, especially, there's been a ton of turnover on the defense. They really haven't kept the same guys around. So one of the consistent themes that you've seen is that they're constantly having to kind of go back to square one. They kind of have to go back and simplify things, and then, over the course of the season, you'll start to see Bill Belichick will start to install more looks, more complexities of the defense, and they don't have to go back to square one this year because over the past 5 years, they haven't carried over the same starting secondary from week 17 of one year to week 1 of the next year at any point. It's been consistent change on top to bottom in the secondary, and this year they actually finally have an opportunity, having brought back Aqib Talib and Kyle Arrington, to bring back the same starting 5, starting 4 in the back 7 that you had last year. So I think it's interesting that, and even up front as well, they have 6 of 7 starting returners, guys coming back from last year, that being in the front 7. So again, I think it's one of those things where they have an opportunity to, instead of go back to square one and kind of build from there, they can start where they left off last year and build on it from there. So a lot of the improvement that you saw from the Patriots defense last year, I think, could carry over into 2013. And one other thing that I mentioned was just the kind of the shifting back and forth of the fronts and how it's been a 3-4 look for a few years, or how it was for a while, and how recently it's been 4-3 over the past couple of years. And looking at it, they really haven't identified with a 3-4 or a 4-3 based defense for some time. It's really been just kind of a mix of doing whatever it is that's necessary in a given game plan. And I think you'll start to see them even expand on that a little bit more, because in recent years they have kind of rested on the 4-man front as their base. But if they kind of get back to this 3-4 a little bit and 3-man front, it can only help them, do a few more things on defense.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you on this because I was reading your article, and I think we will see. A lot of switching back and forth and mixing it up. And while we're on that subject, the Patriots added a couple of players in the interior of the line with Tommy Kelly, Armand Armstead. And how do you see them fitting in with this new look defense?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a sign of the times. You look at them having moved on from both Kyle Love and Brandon Dederick in roughly a 24-hour span of each other. And a lot of people think that the type 2 diabetes diagnosis might have had something to do with Kyle Love, and maybe it did on some level, but I think more importantly, it was a sign that they're definitely looking to change what they're doing schematically, that the old guard is not what they're looking for anymore. They want guys who can get in the backfield a little bit more, and that's certainly not without reason. I mean, I think they have a very solid gap-plugging defensive tackle in Vince Wilfork, arguably one of the best in the league at it. And, next to him, you need somebody who can create a little pressure. I think Armand Armstead did a good job of that in the CFL, and we've seen a lot of guys in the CFL, make a successful transition to the NFL. So it wouldn't surprise me to see his skills translate. And with Tommy Kelly, you're looking at a guy who is, very scheme versatile. He played in Oakland, and, they've changed schemes relentlessly over the past few years. It's been kind of a revolving door of coaching staffs. So they've gone to 3-4 to 4-3, back and forth again, and he's got some experience in both fronts as a result. So I think with the versatility that Tommy Kelly has and the experience and the youth and the athleticism of Armand Armstead next to that, they have an opportunity to have a sure thing at defensive tackle with Kelly, something that they know, it's a known commodity. They know what they're going to get out of him, and he's a talented player. And then you have next to him or behind him on the depth chart, you have the younger guy with a little bit more upside and the long-term potential to be something really special. I mean, Armand Armstead was projected to be a first-round pick in recent years when he was supposed to come out, but didn't have or had health concerns around him and wasn't certain to stay healthy. So I think it's interesting to see what's going to happen with him, but definitely they gave themselves some options with those two.
Absolutely. And, the Patriots' top draft pick this year, Jamie Collins, he's kind of an interesting cat because he has not only the ability to rush the quarterback, but he can also cover. Do you see him being more of a pass rusher in his rookie year, or do you think they'll utilize him more in a coverage role?
Well, I mean, obviously with all the moves they made, with bringing in Adrian Wilson and with Jamie Collins and, even adding Steve Baharness, I think they were acknowledging that they needed to do better covering the middle of the field in passing situations. And, I actually blasted out a stat sheet a couple of months ago just outlining, the Patriots linebackers in coverage, and it's pretty ugly. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, they all gave up a completion percentage of over 70. They all had a passer rating allowed of over 80. They all gave up at least one touchdown into their coverage, and really, it was a kind of a situation all year long where you knew that they could be, that there was a little bit of a speed issue, I think, with Brandon Spikes, and they other teams were able to kind of stretch the field against them that way. So definitely they kind of addressed that covering the middle of the field aspect. I think Jamie Collins could be a part of that. But in terms of his role with the defense, I see him a lot like Rob Ninkovich, kind of a movable piece who can do a lot of different things for you. I mean, he could rush the passer off the edge with his hand on the ground. He could be a stand-up linebacker in a 3-4 or in a 4-3. And really, that versatility, I think, is, again, a big part of what the Patriots are going to be looking for in terms of this defense going forward. So drafting a guy like Jamie Collins makes a lot of sense. But, I think in his rookie year, you'll see him probably do a little bit more in coverage as a linebacker, but it wouldn't surprise me at all to see them, try him out at everything and see what he can do and see if he could really be a replacement, because Ninkovich is in a contract year. So So again, I think with Collins you have the potential there, but you still have to see what he can do and what he's best at.
And I'm glad you mentioned Adrian Wilson because it leads right into my next question. I was very excited myself when they picked him up. I think he provides that big physical presence at the safety position that they really haven't had in quite a while. And, the big question that most Patriots fans have, does he have enough left in the tank? You want to share some of your thoughts on him?
Well, actually, I'll just go ahead and share some of Derek Haven's thoughts. I mean, you're his constituent after all. So I think, it was he who first mentioned that, because he lives in Arizona, so he gets to watch the Cardinals games, and he pointed out that, they when they moved away from Adrian Wilson, they were kind of looking to get younger. They weren't necessarily saying, look, we kind of need to move on because, you're not doing the job or you're not good in coverage and getting pulled off on passing situations and things like that. I don't know that was necessarily what was going into it, but again, I wonder, like you, if he has how much he has left in the tank. But it'll be interesting because they have, when you look at it, they have a lot of depth at that strong safety spot with Tavon Wilson, with Steve Gregory, also having drafted Jerron Harmon in the 3rd round. So they know that is a pretty important spot for them, that's the spot that they have some question marks at, and they took a lot of shots at the board to see if they could fix that. But it'll be interesting because they know what they have in Gregory. He's more of a nickel defensive back than really a starting cover 2 strong safety. So it'll be interesting to see who they put in what role, but definitely smart by them to take a lot of shots at the board. And with Wilson, you have a veteran presence back there, if nothing else.
Now, speaking about the secondary as well, I know in the OTAs the other day we heard Alfonso Bennett hurt his shoulder. Have you heard anything about exactly what kind of injury he suffered yet?
I have not. But, because the Patriots are pretty classically quiet on it. There's nothing really been said about it. All I know is what everybody else knows, that he fell and injured himself on the practice field. He was taken off on a cart, not necessarily that he was, that he couldn't walk off on his own. He got up and moved over to the cart by his own. But other than that, nothing really to add.
Okay. I hadn't heard anything or hadn't read anything else about that either. Didn't know if you had any insider info on that. Let's switch base real quick to the offense. We have a lot of new moving parts for the Patriots this season at wide receiver. How do you see this playing out in terms of what our final roster may look like at the wide receiver position?
Yeah, there's obviously going to be a lot of question marks there, and really the only surefire starter I think in the group is Danny Amendola. But beyond that, you're looking at Julian Edelman, Molasses Mike, as everybody calls him. But you're also looking at, you'll have Josh Boyce, you have Aaron Dobson. So there's some depth there, but you wonder who's going to be the starting wide receiver next to Danny Amendola. And beyond that, I think you look at this group as just a little bit more athletic, a little bit bigger than we've seen in recent years. Mike Jenkins, I just called him Molasses Mike, I know, but he's a big dude, and they've really lacked that at the receiver spot. So it wouldn't surprise me at all to see him earn that starting spot. They've had slow receivers on that offense before, and really when everything is within that 10-yard bubble, it's not as big of an issue. But I think that's kind of what Patriots fans are looking to get away from, which is kind of why maybe some fans are a little bit hesitant to kind of latch onto him. But I think with Aaron Dobson, there's definitely a lot of potential there for him to be something special down the stretch. Just with he has a lot of athleticism. He's a big guy on the outside, doesn't drop a lot of passes. He did have a couple of drops at OTAs, but you can correct those. And I think, beyond that, they've kind of lacked the ability to develop receivers on the depth chart over recent years. So people are going to have their questions about guys like Josh Boyce and Aaron Dobson until they show it. But I think at this point, you kind of have to say, roll with the young guys. They've gone the veteran route before. I know that it's one of those things where, people kind of want to know what they're going to get. But this offseason, I think, is defined by the Patriots deciding that the known quantity was not good enough for them, that they need to improve, that they need to take the chance to improve, because you don't get better by sitting back and letting just being yourself, like just running the same thing year after year. It doesn't work that way. You have to evolve. You have to try to improve, and sometimes trying to improve comes with a risk. It comes with the risk of not knowing what you're going to get. You have to roll the dice in this. It's a perfect analogy, even if it's kind of a worn out one. Just throw some darts at the board, see what sticks. Try to get better. You're only going to hit the bullseye if you aim at it, so you might as well take a shot.
Great stuff as always, Erik. I could talk to you all afternoon, but unfortunately, I know you're a busy man these days. Share with our readers, listeners, one more time about where they can find you and how to find you on Twitter.
Yeah, it's at Erik Frenz, ErikFrenz, BleacherReport.com/AFC East blog, and Boston.com/Going Deep.
Football fans, looking to get healthy this year? Now is the time, and I have the perfect place for you. Save 10% at onit.com/football radio. Exclusive PFC radio listeners save 10% off their order. That's onit.com, ONNIT.com/football radio.
And welcome back to Patriots Central. Patriots fans will be very interested to listen to this next segment. Our next guest is Patriots punter Zoltan Mesko, who is known as one of the premier punters in the NFL, but he's also very well known for his charity work off the field. He was 2012 the Ron Burton Community Service Award winner for the Patriots, and we'd like to welcome to our show Zoltan. How are you this afternoon?
Good. How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. We're very excited to have you on the show this afternoon. And before we get started, I just wanted to say we are very excited to have you on and to talk about your foundation and your show coming up this Saturday. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The show is called Zolioki, and it's a celebrity karaoke event with my teammates and I. And last year we had about 40 guys come out to the event. We ended up raising around $30,000 for the Boston Children's Hospital. And this passion of mine kind of goes back to college, where I used to visit the kids at Mott Children's Hospital in Ann Arbor when I was attending the University of Michigan. And it'll be taking place this Saturday from 7 to 10 at Royale in Boston. And tickets can be found on ZoltanMeskoFoundation.org. All right, very interesting, Jeremy. How's it going, Zoltan? I was just going to ask, I read up on it a bit, and I understand you managed to pull off about 700 guests last year, and only setting it up in like a month and a half. You had a full year this time around, since it's the second one. And so you must be expecting a huge turnout, no?
We are expecting a huge turnout, but we are making a final push for everything to sell out the place, and I think we have a good chance of doing it. We got billboards running on the highway and all types. I've been on all kinds of shows and TV shows, and I'm almost ready to call it quits on that end. But it's all for a good cause, and the hard work's going to pay off on Saturday.
Well, going back to your show, I heard you mention earlier about 40 of the players are going to be there. Who is the best Patriots singer on the squad?
Well, last year, I would say he would have taken the prize. This year we'll actually hand out a trophy for the winner. But last year, Rob Ninkovich would have taken first place. He sang a pretty good country song, had a little country twang to it, to his fiance and now wife. but he did a great job, and he would have definitely taken the top award for that.
So you have a lot of players coming this time around. I'm sure not, everybody gets, some stage fright, even though you guys play on the biggest stage of all. But is there a player who's maybe like the hardest to get out there who you're looking forward to trying to push onto the stage?
I would say Tom is pretty hard to get out there, but he will be in attendance. He'll make a stop by the event, and we're going to try and peer pressure him up there on stage. I know if it's for a good cause, he may consider it.
That's great. Now, you said this benefit is for the Boston Children's Hospital, and is there the Mass General as well involved with this?
Yes. So it's actually 3 hospitals. We'll have Hasbro Children's in Providence, and then Boston Children's, and then Mass General, who was the primary care center for the marathon bombing victims. So that was, a big motivating factor behind including Mass General, because they did an outstanding job during that time of crisis.
Now, let me ask you a quick question on this. I know that I always see in the press that you visit hospitals throughout Central Mass, Eastern Mass. I mean, we see you out in UMass here in Worcester all the time. What is it in particular that makes visiting the hospital so important to you?
I think the biggest drive is that it makes me happy to see, as far as light up in front of you because you came in that door. And I tend to act like a goofball in front of them, so they tend to laugh at anything I do. I may play catch in the room with them. Have knocked over some equipment before, which nothing serious happened, but it was funny to talk about after. But I feel like as professional athletes, we have this social responsibility where we need to give back and affect the community in a positive way, and not tarnish our name through something like a DUI or an arrest or anything of that sort. We're in the limelight 24/7 almost, under the microscope, and we're expected to be better people, and I like to live up to that.
That's definitely that sounds great. I mean, ideal athlete. That's definitely what you want to hear. I know Robert Kraft has even said that you're one of the best punters in the league, but as far as your contributions to the community, he would consider you basically a league MVP in that sort, which is really great from him. So let's say, aside from you, because we know that you do your part without question, who's another Patriots player who maybe would come in second place to you as far as community output, getting out there?
I would say, they may not do it as frequently, but they have a bigger reach as far as because of their name. I would say the 2 guys that do a lot are Gerard Mayo and Vince Wilfork. They both have their own foundations, and Gerard has his annual Mayo Bowl that he does, and that goes to the kids in hospitals as well around the area. And Vince is very passionate about diabetes awareness and prevention, so because his family has been affected. So, those 2 guys are really involved with making a positive difference in the community. And they're great examples and leaders on this team.
Yeah, that's really great. I mean, I understand that actually Mayo and Wilfork both also were awarded the Ron Burton Award the last 2 years previous to you. And there's other great names on there like Larry Izzo, Kevin Falk, Matt Light. I mean, it must feel really great to have your name in there with those, hugely respected Patriots.
Yeah, it's definitely an honor, and I feel humbled by it. And a lot of people, look at humbled as, I feel like sometimes I'm not deserving of it, just because it's, I have a lot of things to work on as anyone else does, but it is a humbling experience to get such an honor, and especially from an organization like the Patriots, who values community service like this. I know in each rookie contract, and I'm not sure about following contract, but they will put a minimum of 10 community appearances into the first 4 years of your contract. So it's definitely something that they value and that they look upon very dearly.
Well, I know football players, there are no off seasons, really. I mean, you're working out all the time. You have stuff you have to do for the team. You give so much of yourself back to the community. What do you like to do when you have some actual downtime? Do you have any interest in?
Yeah. When it comes to actual downtime, I would say I'm definitely a casual golfer. At times, a big part of my off season now is running the foundation, the Zoltan Mesko Foundation. So that's a big time consuming thing. But as far as downtime, I like to read a lot. I like to watch other sports, some hockey, some basketball, some baseball. It's all good to me. And it's just whatever else. I love going to the movies, hanging out with friends, et cetera, et cetera.
The OTA's just finished up. Are you excited to get training camp started this summer?
Oh, definitely excited. It's going to be, we're reloaded again for another great year. And first things first, everyone has to make the team. And I'm excited about the competition and the days ahead.
All right, so just as far as, since we're on the topic, back onto football, I know last year you guys had a really great year as far as punting off the ball. I believe you guys had only, I think it was 154 punt returns on you guys all year. And I mean, that's just really amazing. I know that there was a player who got over 154 punt return yards in a single game last year. Aside from you, who are some other players who on the special teams who really deserve some credit for that?
Well, first thing is, the guy that gets the ball to me is Danny Aiken, our long snapper. He's done a great job in snapping a strike every time and protecting us with that. And then it goes through the entire line. They're the first line of defense between me and the rushers, which I have about 2 seconds flat to get rid of the ball and spiral it down there with decent hang time to have Matt Slater or Kyle Arrington or Marquise Cole make a play as the gunners. And they've done a great job as well.
Very good. Well, I know your time is short. We don't want to hold you too much. Can you tell us about the tickets for Saturday's event, and where people can still get them and how they can contact you if they want to donate but can't make the event?
Yeah. So donations or tickets can be found on ZoltanMeskoFoundation.org. And the event, again, is from 7 to 10 on Saturday in Boston at Royale Nightclub. And feel free to stay after the event. We'll have a good time after that. And it's going to be for a great cause. We're benefiting 3 hospitals, and the event is so legitimate compared to last year because we're backed by such great sponsors. We have Putnam Investments backing us, EMC, Equinox, and Smartwater. So it's really great when you have these companies backing your cause.
Definitely. One last question. I was just wondering, as far as people who go, I'm sure you'll be singing while you're there. Is there any specific songs people can look forward to hearing you sing?
I have been practicing in the car mostly. Really, anything that comes on Top 40 we'll have coming on. Maybe we'll rewind to last year to Call Me Maybe. And that's been a popular song. You don't expect these macho football players to come out singing that song. So it's always funny to embarrass yourself for a good cause.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, Zoltan, I know your time is short. Thank you very much for being a guest this afternoon, and good luck not only with your charity this year, but with the season upcoming with the Patriots. And we look forward to seeing you on the field this summer once training camp starts.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me on and spreading the word about Zolioki.
And that was Zoltan Mesko, everyone, from the New England Patriots. It was really great to have him on the show. We would just like to give another shout-out to the Zoltan Mesko Foundation and everybody who can attend Zolioki this Saturday. Make sure you get down there to meet some Patriots players, apparently hear them embarrass themselves, and it'll be a great show.
And, yes, that will be a fun event this Saturday. In fact, I myself sing Sinatra very off-key, but I'm not going to be there to assault anyone's ears. But you can follow us on iTunes, and you can download the show. You can also find me on Twitter at SteveB7SFG. You can also follow us on Twitter at Patriots Central. Jeremy.
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter at jdawson_NFL.
Thanks for tuning in to Patriots Central. For Patriots news, blogs, highlights, and more, log on to ProFootballCentral.com.
This is your boy DJ Booty Poo from W1 and 2. Right about now, we got the receptionist crew in the house. We about to bring up the world champion New England Patriots, baby. Put your hands up. Put your hands up. Wait a second, man. Put your hands up. Wait your hands up.
Yo, ain't nobody seeing the packs and that's that. Ain't nobody seeing the packs and that's that. Ain't nobody seeing the packs and that's that.
You getting sliced with a razor sharp welcome mat.
Now you can try to get fly, but we got time. Raw and fool, welcome to the new school. Legendary question everybody wanna know. How to start Balestriei's flow. Weiss is nice, Pernell is hell, Pioli ain't phony. Go and check the depth chart, homie. Resources, seize losses. Welcome to the Razor Kids, step into the fortress. Our game plan's
We
flawless.
stand strong to the finish like Willie McGinnis. With the goal line stand to make your ego diminish.
How embarrassing.
Helmets knocked off by Rodney Harrison. New England Patriots, no other squad is in comparison. All New England fans from Worcester to Winooski. Throw up your hands for an ice cold brewski. Your team is getting hyped and they just wanna rumble on. But much to your dismay is the score on the Jumbotron.
0.
Ask one stat, parcels. We sending weak old lines back to the barbells and bench press. Cause none of y'all is comp, son. We running right past y'all like Bethel Johnson.
Ask Ricky Williams how hits go down here. Oops, look at the Brownies, bound to be found there. Old Paul Payton, so frustrating. Throw another pick to get a standing ovation. Thank you, we'll be taking that one to the bank too.
Kick the extra point.
Notice